Hello, America, and to our friends around the world, greetings! This report, which I'm about to read to you, hopefully in time for you to reconsider your breakfast and supper planning, is an outrageous suggestion and demonstrates the pitiful disconnect the legacy media and large corporations and their officers have with the rest of us. I've included links to a variety of sources in the description box for your ability to cross-verify what I'm about to say. Breakfast cereals have been connected to be contaminated with pesticides, such as Chlormequat. This causes reduced fertility, harm to our individual reproductive systems, and, in unborn babies, it alters fetal growth. To those of you who have abandoned the legacy media in favor of independent sources, in particular those found online, may clearly remember the Alex Jones exposure about Atrazine, another pesticide being found in the water. The classic quote about chemicals in the water making the friggin' frogs gay was widely mocked, but, as you will discover for yourself by following the link, has been proven to be true. Most recently, you may have listened to me read the coverage of Amos Miller, the Amish farmer being raided by an overbearing government for conducting contractual sales with member clients. I've provided a link to the Sheppardess who has been following this case closely. All of this I'm sharing with you as a resource to demonstrate the perverse and sinister levels of government which seem determined to deprive you of choice, deprive you of commerce, to allow you a narrow selection of goods which are harming you. There is hope, and if I'm capable of doing it, then most likely so are you. Learn to prepare and cook as much of what you consume from scratch as possible. We may not be able to avoid these harmful chemicals completely, but we can severely limit what we ingest by refusing processed foods. Again, links in the description if health is your concern. If cost is your concern, I can tell you from my own personal experience of refusing processed foods, I've personally been saving for one adult man well over $50 per month. I'd have to open up my spreadsheet, which I use for tracking expenses, to be certain because I also stock up over a month's supply of food, and thus I'd suspect I'm saving much more. 26 February 2024, Kellogg's CEO faces backlash for saying people should eat cereal for dinner to save money by Nathaniel Meyerson, CNN. Let them eat cornflakes appears to be Kellogg's CEO Gary Pilnick's advice to cash-strapped shoppers who are spending the highest portion of their income on food than at any point in the last 30 years. In an interview with CNBC last week, W.K. Kellogg CEO Pilnick said the company was advertising cereal for dinner to consumers looking for more affordable options. Give chicken the night off, the ad's cheery tagline reads. W.K. Kellogg owns cereals such as Frosted Flakes, Fruit Loops, Corn Flakes, Raisin Bran, and others.
The cereal category is always been quite affordable, and it tends to be a great destination when consumers are under pressure.
Pilnick said,
If you think about the cost of cereal for a family versus what they might otherwise do, that's going to be much more affordable.
his advice hasn't landed well with people frustrated by spending 26% more on groceries since 2020. On social media, the campaign is being seen as insensitive. CNBC host Carl Quintanilla asked Pilnick if encouraging weary customers to eat cereal for dinner could land the wrong way. Pilnick thought the opposite.
In fact, it's landing very well right now.
Pilnick said,
Cereal for dinner is something that is probably more on trend now, and we would expect to continue as that consumer is under pressure.
Prices for groceries and restaurants have skyrocketed since the start of the pandemic. In 2022, consumers spent 11.3% of their disposable income on food, the highest level since 1991. The Wall Street Journal reported last week, citing data from the U.S. Agriculture Department, food companies have raised prices since the start of the pandemic to cover higher costs for labor, ingredients, and transportation, and because they could. Cereal prices alone increased 28% since January of 2020, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. In its latest fiscal year, Kellogg raised prices by 12%. Food brands under fire. Despite the CEO's assurances, Kellogg's advertisement and Pilnick's comments have led to a backlash on social media. Some consumers have called the comments tone deaf from an executive who made more than $4 million last year. They note that boxes of popular cereals now cost more than $7, and cereal is not an adequate substitution for a full dinner. The backlash highlights consumer anger at companies for raising prices on everyday foods and, in some cases, boasting about it. This is what companies think of you, one user on TikTok wrote of Pilnick's suggestion. Hashtag corporate greed, wrote another. McDonald's also has become a regular target for social media users complaining about prices. Viral stories lamenting the cost of a Big Mac meal, particularly the $18 ones at a widely maligned Darien, Connecticut location off I-95, have become a TikTok genre unto themselves.